Me and my brother, we were obsessed with mohawks, and we had the blondest hair. Like literally, it would be shiny, and we'd always go up to mom and be like, "We want a mohawk, we want a mohawk," and my mom was like, "Why?" And
AOA, that's a triple play. New episodes, I couldn't wait. Yeah, open your mind at the first gate. Press play, no need to debate. AOA, check me out. Look, clocked in, you can catch the hype. Golden Dawn, how we follow the light. Anime like life, married to it, my wife.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages? Welcome back to the AOA show. I'm your host, as always, Ian, along with the boys Isaiah.
Oh, hi, yo.
And Gavin.
what is Gucci shoes?
I love giving you that, like, fighter intro every time. It's one of my favorite things about this. Anyway, we're here talking Tower of God. We just started Season 3, so that is super hype. If you did not see our live stream already, you definitely want to check that out before you watch this video. It's a long one, but it's a goodie. You can check that out on our AOA Reacts channel. The link is in the description down below. You definitely don't want to miss it. But we're here today talking about some of the questions that you guys posed to us based off the chapters that we read. So we have 7 of the most upvoted questions from our lovely people in our Discord. So if you want to join in on the fun, maybe get your question to be read out and answered by us for future discussions, definitely catch our live streams. You got 1 hour after their conclusion to post your question in there. And like I said, the 7 most upvoted will be used in today's discussion. But don't fret, don't fear, and don't be discouraged if you do not have your question answered on this discussion. It's not the most upvoted one, because sometimes Isaiah and I will clean up house on some of the remaining questions later in the week, and they don't necessarily have to be the most upvoted ones. We'll take names that haven't been on the board before, questions that we find personally interesting, or goof questions that we wanted to just, have some fun with. So don't be discouraged. Participate. It's what makes our content that much better. You're directly a part of it. But we are here today talking this. I am super excited to get into it. Gavin, why don't you hit us up with this first question?
And number 1, we got Irene Sharda. We've met White and we've met Karaka. Now we've been introduced to Slayer Baylord Yama. Initial thoughts on the god of the fighting dogs. Well, to me, he seems like your average dictator or leader. I mean, just kind of has his own, he's running his own game, has a whole bunch of half-naked dog people, humans.
It's pretty accurate, actually. That description.
Just, kind of doing his bidding, literally whatever he says. And if they don't follow his word, they're dead. So, pretty hardcore. He likes his dogs with 6-packs, so I do got to respect that. And they all got to train. They all got to weight train every day. So, they put in the work. Got to respect that. But, no, I guess all jokes aside, I mean, he looks pretty dope. He's got some drip. A little scary looking. Definitely has some intimidation to him. That kind of comes with that whole persona. But I'm definitely intrigued, especially with, the alluded to fight with him and Bam in the future. I want to see how much Bam is able to mollywop him or vice versa, how much of a fight he's able to put up, which seems to be he's going to do a pretty, he's gonna stand his ground.
No, he's
is
not.
my prediction.
Yama would fuck him up. Yeah.
You think it's going to be complete, like,
he's not going to fight him, though.
day?
He's not going to fight him.
You don't think he's going to fight him?
No, because he made the rules to that game. I think Bomb isn't stupid. Like, Bomb is a little arrogant, and he let him, not arrogant, but he's ballsy, let's just say, and he gave him his shit. But I think even Bomb knows at the end of the day, you fight him in a one-on-one. Like, I think it's implied that Yama, even as powerful as Bomb is like, I'll crush your head like a grape.
So I gotta say, I didn't necessarily mean one-on-one, just fight in
All right,
general.
fair
So
enough,
I mean, there's gonna come to a point where they're gonna scuff each other up.
You think so?
So I mean, yeah. I mean, if they didn't, I'd be a little disappointed. Especially if Bam didn't give him like a little pew pew pew, and like maybe he's like and comes after him. Like, I would expect something to happen, and I would be a little bit disappointed.
Can't wait for the sound effects on that.
A little pew 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 pew. But yeah, no, I am interested, and I hope something happens because I don't know. I just want to ruffle some feathers. So we'll see. But yeah,
fur.
Cool dude, pretty good. Want to see? Well, actually, not. He's not a good guy, but either way, interesting. I'm curious to see where it moves forward.
Thoughts?
I really like his character design. It's dope. And yeah, he seems like kind of the next big bad. I don't know. There's nothing like super distinctive about him, like that makes me be like, oh, this guy's kind of got some like intrigue here, because he kind of just seems like your generic like I fight to fight and love fighting. So I think that's pretty cool. I actually do think that I also think they're gonna fight at some point, because that does sort of feel like what the build up here is for. And that I'm definitely excited for, because I think that'll be, I guess, ultimately the test of where Bam is strength-wise, because we know he's been training for X amount of years. We know that, like, if he's going after Caliban, like, I don't know where Caliban stacks, like, if it was Caliban versus Yama, but I'm assuming if Yama is a Slayer, like, I don't even know if it's fair to compare him to, like, other Slayers like Karaka, but, like, let's say he's in that ballpark. Like, I don't know. I don't think Bam's going to. I don't know. I kind of think, like, they might actually, like, fight. Like, it won't be, like, easily one-sided on any front. But I guess it also depends on, like, how long the fight goes on for and, like, what the stipulations are. Like, if it's just a straight all-out brawl.
And I mean, to add another variable that we don't know about is the training that he's went through with Ivan Kel, Bam, being. Like, we know that so far he hasn't used the Thorn, and that everything has been based off of, raw talent from the beginning, literally using that zero, Shinsu or whatever you want to call it. So it's like, theoretically, we don't know how much he has trained and how much power he has backing him now. So it's kind of like you really don't know how he's going to compare against, Yama. And it's assumed that he's not just going to blow him out of the water. But, like, I do feel like it's going to be a back and forth and just not, like, completely one-sided on either end.
Yeah, the other interesting thing is I think they said Yama is the only person of his bloodline that can, like, fully use the transformation technique, like, completely. Like, most of them can only do, like, partial or half or whatever. So, like, how much of a advantage boost that gives him, I don't know. Yeah, I definitely think regardless it's going to be an interesting fight, and that's the other reason I don't think it'll be so one-sided, because it's just less interesting.
So are you saying you think they're going to fight within the confines of this arc, or are you just saying, like, as a broad statement, like, I think they're going to fight at some point, and when they do, I think it'll go back and forth? Are you saying that, or I don't know if you guys have the same thought on this, or you differ? Like, do you think it's going to be this arc that they're fighting?
Yes. But I don't think it's going to be, like, a fight to the death. Like, the kind of fight that, well, I was going to say we've never really seen one before.
It can even be, like, a fight of respect. Like they mentioned the transformation thing. It could be something where it's, like, Bam is maybe, like, giving him the 1-2, and then, like, it forces Yama to, like, use a partial transformation or a full transformation. And in doing that, it's like, I respect you for you making me use this power, or some sort of, like,
Yeah, I think it's going to be more like it's going to be more for show. Like, it's not going to be like to the death, one of us has to die.
It's funny because I'm looking at the question. I'm like, where is that part in the question? I think we just incorporated that. But just to address that real quick, I'm gonna pull a chat right now, because I feel like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? If you say so and so is gonna do well, they're like, actually, AOA, I think you're underestimating X. You know what I mean? But I will pull that one right now. I do not think Bomb should personally be able to really, like, give this guy the goods, because I feel like Bomb is, like, way too powerful at that point. This guy's a high ranker. They referred to him as a high ranker. Also, Slayers, correct me if I'm wrong here, are supposed to be the people that fight the family heads one-on-one and then jihad. So if Bomb is, like, actually able to go toe-to-toe with that guy, that means that Bomb is at the level, almost at the level, if not at the level, of a family head, which means that we're already almost there. You know what I mean? And he's only on the 52nd floor. I feel like that's a little quick for Bomb to do that. I know he just gave some rankers the sauce, when he had the Thorn and the Black March and all that kind of stuff, and, going all out. He definitely launched some attacks at them. But I feel like it'd be a little weird. I feel like it'd be a little out of place for Bomb to, like, actually give this guy a challenge where he's at right now, just to throw my personal opinion out there, just because I think it would make Yama, like, not invalidate him, but I feel like it would definitely, like, downgrade him as the big bad. So I think that personally, Bomb, the reason that he thought of this game is because he knows that it's not that. If it's something along the lines like, I'm going to hop down, maybe the respect thing, I could see that, where it's like like, Yama's not even really trying, and, like, Bomb makes him like, oh, you made me, kind of like the Netero thing in Hunter x Hunter, where, like, Gon makes him use his other arm. You know what I mean? Something like that. That's where I think that is. In terms of him and my initial thoughts on him, he's pretty dope. I mean, there's like a soft spot for me with the whole, it's a pretty cliche thing, but, like, the whole warrior fight society where it's like, we judge this just off of strength and power alone. Like, that's it, right? And that's how you get in. There's something one-dimensional but respectable for me with that, in the sense that it's, you know, these guys don't hide who they are, and Yama is able to stay in the position that he's in because of just how powerful he is. Like, no one's been able to topple this dude. But I guess really what's interesting is that I don't know, it really hasn't been alluded to yet if Yama's character is trying to, it doesn't seem like it, that he's trying to intentionally keep people down that could rival his power, because then that's something different entirely, and that kind of ruins the whole enchantment facade thing. But I like this idea of like, sure, I'm in charge because I'm the most powerful, but that doesn't mean if you challenge me and like you beat me man to man or whatever, one-on-one, and you beat my ass, you're kill me, that's it. You're in charge. You know what I mean? So like, if you got a problem with it, fight me. Like, to me, there's something that's like funny, like comical about that, and kind of cool. His design is pretty dope. Not a fan of the dog ears personally. I think it makes him look, I think that style looks a little silly, but that's my personal opinion. But beyond that, yeah, I like the super long hair, and obviously like he's incredibly menacing and huge. I think the blog post said that, what was he, 8'10"? I think he's like 270 centimeters, 8'10", which is like, that's pretty sweet. The whole society is like kind of interesting with that. I was genuinely surprised when we started reading this and there were like literal dogs. You know what I mean? Like the literal dog people, and even the people that had dog ears. Like, I thought when they were talking about Yama's dogs, or like the mad dogs, that it was like kind of a figure of speech, right? It's like dog fights and stuff like that. It's like these guys just scrap, you know, they could like throw down, but it was kind of threw me off when it was like they're like literally have dog features with them. So that was just kind of funny. But anyway, I'm excited to see more of this guy and what he's capable of, and, you know, hopefully see him cut loose at some point. But they got to earn his respect first. That's just that's what it is. It's the law of the jungle with this, and that kind of goes to his character, where I think Bomb's absolutely right in the scenario, you know, in that he has to see him as an equal before he could really trust that Yama's going to help them. Because if Yama always thinks that he's just like some pushover, and like he'll not respect him at all. It's power around here. But anyway, getting into question 2, we have by John at Dawn. Thank you for the question. John asks with the quote, "We don't need assholes like you and Fug anymore," quoted by Bomb. What do you think of the changes in Bomb's attitude, not just his outlook on fighting, but also his feelings toward Fug and being in the organization? Is this change just about loyalty to Jin Sung, or did Bomb have to think about how to beat Jihad after the hidden floor and realize that Fug was the best chance? So just taking this from the top here. What do you think about the changes in Bomb's attitude, not just his outlook on fighting, but also his feeling toward Fug and being in the organization? Trying to unpack this here. I like his new attitude. I was saying this in a blog post discussion. I don't know what's coming out first, but we're doing a time loop thing here. Basically, I said when recording it that I think there is an important distinction to be made, you know, where it's like, just because Bomb is a little more confident, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going the Viol route, right? It's not like he's like this like crazed, you know, like, or like super depressed style thing. I love this part of Bomb because I think Bomb has found, or is finding, the balance between his shadow self, or his darker side, and his light side. And I think he still keeps intact the intrinsic light values that keep him good and wholesome and who he is, but he's being able to incorporate a little bit more of that shadow side in. It's affected his presence. You know, he walks with an air of confidence now, even more so. It's funny because you can even see in the panels, like the way he talks now, it's like there's this sense, but there's also this overwhelming sense of calm, where it's like, I'm not going to go, it's not that I'm even being cocky. It's just that I know at the end of the day, like, this is the work that I've put in, and I'm not going to get all hyped up and crazy. I think it was a stark contrast when he fights Baragov. And Baragov gets just mollywopped. But I thought it was interesting in that moment because you could just see how much more powerful Bomb is just by Baragov's relentless yelling and like going crazy about it, right? It's like he thinks that gives him power in some way, shape, or form, that it's like, oh, I'm going to show how pissed off I am and I'm going to go nuts and crazy. But Bomb being able to just kind of deflect that mentally and physically, and just, you know, be in this Zen mode and just know what he's about, know that he's put in the work, really just shows to like Bomb's growth as a character here, both mentally and physically and spiritually as well. It's pretty cool to see. Is the change about loyalty to Jin Sung? Oh, it's things towards Fug. I'm going to let you guys pick up on this because this is like kind of compartmentalized into like 5 questions here, and I don't want to speak to everyone and then give anybody less things to talk about here. So if anybody else wants to pick up on the other questions, kind of like his feelings towards Fug and all that kind of stuff, I'm all ears on that one because I didn't have anything off the top of my head.
What do we? So his change about his loyalty to Jin Sung, Bam, or do you think Bam has thought about his change to defeat Jihad and him? I don't really think. I think, to be honest, Bam is just in this mindset of like, Fug is like, he makes this comment. I think it's to Khun when they're going over the plan for Dang Dang, where it's like, Fug, like Fug or hate Fug, like the resources, connections, and opportunities that they like that their group has going through Fug are much better than if they like just tackle this stuff with like him, Khun, Shibasu, and Hots. So it's sort of like, the devil is better than the devil you don't situation, where it's like, yeah, Fug is terrible, and it's been stated in the story from context, but even SIU says it in his blog, like, Bam does not like Fug whatsoever. But, like, they've got, like, if he can use Fug to get what he wants, and there's something else that's said about it in the chapters where, like, it's implied that Bam might even be trying to change structurally, like, how Fug does things, or at least the people in his circle that are a part of Fug. I don't know how true that is. I don't know how much of that is actually on his mind. But I guess my point is, Bam is more using Fug than he has like signed up with Fug, and I think that's an important distinction because he's not taking on the facade of Fug, or like, yes, I tattoo Fug on my chest. I'm singing to the rooftops about how much I love him. Yeah. So I don't think it's more about like I think his loyalty to Jin Sung is like why he's going through with this ultimately, and not just trying to do this on his own, because avenging Jin Sung matters more to him than his feelings with Fug. Those feelings aren't like inconsequential, and they're not going away. Like, they still exist, but bigger priority. Like, Bam has a more ultimate goal on his mind. Yeah, and just to answer the first part, I also really like Bam's new identity, I guess you'd call it, personality, attitude. Yeah, it's cool. It's this mix of like confident, I know what I'm about, I know how strong I am, and I'm not, trying to be like, I'm not like walking on thin ice or stepping on eggshells or anything. I'm here, I know what I can do. Like, I think the prison scene is it's that same thing that like you see the characters in prison, and it's like, this is kind of just like, this is part of the plan, or this is really formalities. Like, I'm not, he wasn't actually really in any danger as far as that moment or the fight that ensues later with Baragov. It's just badass.
Yeah, and it's cool how the feelings that are now changed really fits into what has happened to Bam, because obviously we know his feelings toward losing friends and people that are close to him, especially when it seems like it's because of his existence that these people get hurt. So it's like coming off the heels of Jin Sung dying, or at least that's what he thinks, obviously. Yeah, it would definitely cause a change in, his outlook on life and who he needs to be and how to fight, because, it's a very soft spot in his heart that he doesn't want people close to him or friendly, or that he's friendly with, to die just because they're acquaintances of his. So, that was finally like the stepping stone that is allowing him to change his attitude, and more or less forcing him to change his attitude, especially to really solidify his goals in terms of, helping people around him and then really keeping them safe. So I like the attitude, pretty dope. And I can't wait to see him just ice more people, because when it starts off the chapter of him killing guys, and I'm like, bro, like, you haven't really done that to this point, and now you are, and kind of just like being a badass about it. I'm just saying, you're looking pretty cute, so keep it up, my guy. Keep it up.
You know what I love? When you kill niggas.
I'm sexy.
Take me back.
Yeah, right. So if you want to hit us up with the next question, this one kind of relates to the first one in a sense. Actually, this was a very popular theme, being that this whole read through kind of centralizes around Bomb. Like, we get it, everyone else, but like, there's a lot of changes with Bomb, so people want to hear about it. But I think the last part of this question is very important.
So as you've seen, or by the way, this question is by Elegus. Thank you for the question. They say, as you have seen, Bam has changed, not only in strength, but in ruthlessness. What do you think about Bam's new determination, parentheses, especially if you think that back to the conversation with the God of Guardians regarding the change in Jihad over time? So I like I said a little bit before, I definitely like his change in determination, because he seems much more active now. He seems much more like, to quote Rack's advice, he seems more like a hunter. He's got a goal, he's got an objective, he has a prey. There is somebody that he wants to fight or somebody that he wants to defeat in battle, and like that's his motive. That's what's driving all his training. That's why he wants to get stronger. And you know, it ultimately leads to it's kind of weird too, because in a way Bam has always been like strong in the sense that whether it's like he's just overpowered by means of like the power-ups that he gets and stuff, or the potential that he can reach is just far above most of the characters that we know. But his attitude and his mental state has always like been the opposite. It's been like of the mindset of somebody who like doesn't have that power, which is why I think he's always like dumbfounded people, because he never looked or felt intimidating, but he was. And now that he has this new determination, now that he's acquired this like ideology again of a hunter, so to speak, it feels like a lot more of his character meshes now and everything like fits. It's like, oh no, this is somebody who is incredibly crazy strong and knows that, like, and understands where his power scale is at in terms of other people, and like knows how to be comfortable on the battlefield, which I think like just reads across again in all facets of his life, not just on the battlefield. Like we were saying before, the way he talks to people, the way he literally like holds himself is different. But it does sort of get into that reign, and especially with one of the things where, you know, Bam seems a lot more comfortable just straight killing people now, where, like this question states, where the God of Guardians mentioned that was sort of one of Jihad's turning points, was that, you know, the second he lost touch with, like, himself as a person in connection to other people, like, that's when he started being like, well, why don't, like, I am stronger than them, why don't I just rule them? Which is not far off from where Bam is now, if you really think about it, because Bam is in a situation where he's incredibly powerful, knows he's incredibly powerful, and knows that his potential far out, like even whether he's outright right now stronger than somebody or not, his potential to get stronger outweighs a lot more of the people that he knows and probably will face, obviously, other than once we get to the 10 families. So it's not a far cry that Bam, you know, could string into this mindset of like, oh, I could like really be strong. You know what I mean? And you know, soon enough we have a Jihad 2.0. So that's, I think, the con of this new attitude or determination that he's adapted. But I do think that, sort of like you were saying before, I don't really think it's, at least for Bam, I think Jihad, like that was sort of the problem, is that he thought of things a little too black and white. But I think with Bam, it's going to be a little bit more gray, and he's going to be able to sort of like swing back and forth. Like we sort of see him with this whole dang thing, where it's like, I do think there's enough of the old Bam in there to like counteract that.
What do you think, Evan?
Yeah, no, I mean, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. I think a lot of his determination, it comes a lot with just his mental state and the relationships of people who he's been around. So obviously, you know, not even taking Rachel out of the equation, it's Bam has usually reacted on emotions a lot, and that was his driving force for many things. And now that, you know, he's meditating, he's taking a more Zen route and finding that peace within himself, although it's not fully resolved, it definitely is. It is allowing him to think more clearly in certain situations, although not all of them, and like really just, in my eyes, like make more clear and logistical decisions, as well as still having ties to his old self, because like you were mentioning, it is almost scary in a sense, the route that he can take, especially with the mindset that he has and the power that he has. But it's also refreshing when you meet someone like Dang Dang, and, you know, he is able to still connect with him as a person and still, you know, have like little tinges of his, you know, former self, and be like, I'm helping him no matter what the situation, like my life is on the line to, you know, save this person and like get like what he needs, because I think it's right. So I really hope that we get that sprinkled in as we still see Bam, because, you know, I don't want it to turn into the whole Death Note thing where it's like, oh, everything's on good intentions, and then with the power it's just a full waffle stomp. Like it doesn't seem that's not who Bam is. And I mean, although it can very well go down that direction, I think that's really why Jihad is where he's at, and it's really like showing just the stark contrast between him, where it's like Bam is similar to Jihad in the sense with power, but because he is true to himself and is able to balance said power with that God complex, it's like he is just a more well-rounded person, and that's going to be like the next upcoming revolution in changing the Chower compared to Jihad. So I don't think he's going to go down the whole God complex route, but I also do believe that as we move forward along with it, it's going to challenge his former self in terms of, you know, staying grounded in a sense. And I think that's where Khun plays a very, you know, large role in it, because that is seemingly, he's the one who has tested that prior and being like, hey, you know, watch out with power, you know, you need to stay true to yourself. And it's like, it's in a former question where we'll get into it later on, but it's like that's where I think these two, like, their dynamic is so important because they're just able to ground each other very well. And if there's a split or rift in that, I feel like it can be a little dangerous. So we'll have to see moving forward how far that goes.
Yeah, you guys definitely hit all of the important points there. I do think it's interesting. He becomes a way more well-rounded character, as I stated in the prior question. And now this is an interesting point we have here. I like this narrative, this story device here where, you know, you are contending with yourself, making sure that, you know, you are essentially Superman, but you have to make sure that you're pulling in the reins a little. And just because you can smite anyone with whatever, your orb or whatever it might be, doesn't mean that you should, right? And I think that's what makes them an overall good character, because Bomb could easily turn into the tyrannical ruler, but then he's no better than the tyrant that he is trying to dethrone. So I think this is very interesting, but it's this interesting dynamic where you, like I said, you have to a little bit of the darkness in, or at least contend with it and understand it. Not that you have to let it take over you, because then we have jihad, but at least understanding it and recognizing that it exists is a crucial part of your growth as a human being. Just denying that evil exists or if you can't hurt anyone doesn't make you inherently good. You have to know that you have the ability to do so, and you have the ability to be hurt, and you have to know that evil exists and then consciously choose each and every day not to go down that route. Right, or to just interject those little bits of aggressiveness when it comes to standing for something that you know to be right, or whatever the case might be, right? I could go on. So I think this is a really cool turning point for Bomb's character, and I've been waiting a long time for this. I'm not gonna lie, I have a feeling I'm gonna like Bomb a lot more than I did. Not that I disliked him per se, but we just did our tier list recently, and that was one of my complaints, is that he was pretty blank slate, you know what I mean? Going across the whole time, he was incredibly reactive instead of being proactive, and now he's definitely got a little more gusto to him. He's got a little bit more, guts and understanding and hair on his chest. Yeah, his nuts dropped. But no, but anyway, those are my thoughts. So, Gavin, hit us up with the next one.
So, next question, number 4, we got from Riru. We see Khun and Bam reuniting and immediately getting into an argument about what to do with Dang Dang. This is the first time that they've ever fought like this. What are your thoughts on this argument, taking into account that they have been apart for 2 years? Oh, excuse me. What led into this happening so suddenly? How do you feel about the resolution where it only took 10 minutes for Khun to give in and do things Bam's way? So this was the question I was alluding to prior, and it's growing pains. Obviously, there's been it's been a 2-year gap that they've been apart. They talked on the phone a couple times, but Bam is a new person. And, even though he might run things a little bit differently, he still is his old self. So I feel like the argument really stems from, obviously, ties with Fug. Khun is not about it. And, you have Karaka rolling in the room, and it's like what's going on? I don't want to be part, I feel like that's just a natural thing for him to be unhappy with, especially with seeing Viol and what has happened from that, and now seeing Bam, and just like he's kind of dancing with the devil in regards of being with Fog. I don't think that Khun is very happy or in a happy place with that, so he's just like not taking it out on Bam essentially, but being more forceful in that state where he's just not having it. And then obviously with a shift in Bam's mindset, it's all kind of happening very suddenly. So they just need time to work it out. And how do I feel about the 10-minute resolution? My take might be very black and white or surface level on it, but I mean, Khun's kind of just been like that. He's following Bam for a reason. He likes his personality, and Bam in many ways still has moments of that. And in the conversation when Bam's like, I'm doing this for Dang Dang, whether it's logistical or not, I don't care. I am doing this. And that is very much, for me, felt like way back in like season 1 when they would have those like little, headbutts where it's like Khun saying, this is the right way, it's the only way. And Bam going, no, F you, I'm doing it this way. And then after Khun sitting there and seeing Bam do these things, and it's like, wow, he's really able to do it. It's the whole build up where it's like you're starting it like that, where Khun's like, this is impossible, it's not going to happen. And Bam's like, I don't care, I'm doing it. And then he knows that whether he likes it or not, Bam is going to follow through with it. And, he kind of just needs to be, he doesn't need to be there to support him, but he wants to be there to support Bam. And he knows that Bam is going to do really what he is saying he is, like what he's setting out to do, which is help Dang Dang. So that's why I think it's around 10 minutes for him to give in. It's really happened before, unless you guys have a different perspective on it. That is, I think, yeah.
No, I think Khun for a second forgot, like, that it's been 2 years,
Yeah, like
you know?
yeah.
And I think he was referring to prior knowledge of who Bomb was. Again, we refer to Bomb as more of like a blank slate, very reactive, right? So Khun just kind of assumed that proactive role, right? He was kind of the other side of it. And where Bomb now is coming a little bit more into form, he is a little more sure of himself now. And I think Khun was basically like, Bomb, listen, we've been through this before. Like, this is the way to do it. And when Bomb was like, no, that kind of, took Khun back for a second. He's like, okay, it's like, no, Bomb, like, this is the way to do it. There really wasn't much back talk at prior times. So, it's cool to see Bomb standing up for himself in that case, because I think Khun wants what's best for Bomb. And I don't think this is Khun's intention, but sometimes he can come off as a little bit controlling with that, in my personal opinion. Not that it's anything unhealthy per se. He does genuinely care for the guy, but it's he forgot that it's been 2 years is really the way I saw it. And then when Bomb kind of gave it to him, that explains why he kind of came around sooner than later, because it wasn't like, I'm not going to hold a grudge on this. This isn't really about who's right or wrong. I kind of forgot this is Bomb who I'm dealing with. He's still got that bedrock of who he is, but it just took me back for a second that he was willing to go back at me aggressively, in that moment to stand for it. But, I don't agree with what it is, but, he's going to go about it because he is Bomb, that's it. So I think that's an interesting dynamic, and I'm interested to see how that goes into the future here, because, I don't know how much of a say Khun gets going forward. And if he, if this is going to be some sort of internal conflict with Khun where it's like, oh, I'm losing my grip. Right. And if it's like, maybe there's an arc with Khun or like a growing moment where it's like, well, was I doing this because I genuinely cared about Bomb, or was I doing this because I wanted Bomb to do it my way? Right. And I think that could be an interesting way that they go with Khun's character, something that I would personally enjoy, the introspective arc there. I don't know if you have thoughts.
So it's definitely interesting. I think, to be honest, like the main reason that Khun pushed back against Bam so hard in this, one is because I think he expected a little less pushback, because like I said, or like you guys have said, it's been a 2-year gap. The Bam that we're seeing now, and the one that is talking to Khun, is one who does have a little bit more assertion to his, the things he wants to do and how he wants to do them, to whereas, before 2 years prior, it was more like, oh, like, Bam, what do you think we should do? Or like, oh, Khun, can we do this? Or what do you think about this? Where now it's like, no, I'm going to do this. This is what I want to do. But I think the main thing is just the fact that Bam is now working with Fug. And I think Khun absolutely detests Fug as an organization. I think he detests them the way that they are, them using Bam in any way, shape, or form. And I think he detests even because, the comment or the panels where he's like, oh, Bam, like, your hair is growing a little bit long. Like, I think it reminds him of Viol, the persona that Bam had when he was like sort of as drenched as he could be in Fug. And I think a lot of that, like, emotionally, made Khun react. And I think that's where a lot of because Khun this isn't the first time he's like bumped heads with Bam in terms of what to do on a subject, and it's not the first time that Bam has taken a stance of let's save everybody, and it's not the first time that Khun's taken the more analytical, tactical stance, whatever you want to call it. So it would have been weird. Like, if you take that out of it, it's weird for Khun to assume that Bam would never want to do this plan or would never come up with this, or like, why is he? Because he's done this before. This conversation is not new at all. Well, I think it's just the fact that they haven't seen each other in so long, and so there might be some like weird irrational emotions bubbling up in Khun that, like, just seeing Bam in the state that he's in the position that he's in. It's like, he might just be worried. He's like, I don't know what you're trying to do here, but like, I just don't want Fug to sink their hands too deep into that, like, I can't get you out, or nobody can save you.
Yeah. I think that's just sorry if I cut you off, but I think there's an important point there at the end where you're saying where I can't save you. And I think that also will be an interesting dynamic, which I kind of just touched on, but I think there is this a little bit, I don't think a lack of trust is the right phrase here, but a little bit of hesitancy when it comes to delegation on Khun's part, where it's like Khun has assumed the role of I'm the guy who gives orders, right? And I think Bomb, although Bomb is like kind of bullheaded and whatever, like the fact that Bomb didn't just say, oh, I'm going to save him, but came back with alternatives, like, no, your plan's not going to work because of X, right? Like, I've actually got this, kind of figured out here, or at least I think so, and I'm going towards that. I think that'll be, that's an interesting arc for Khun. I'm actually very excited for how Khun handles this. going forward. You know, if it's more of like, okay, I think I gotta like release it a little bit because Bomb, you know, and give Bomb a little bit of room to play here, because, you know, if I go too hard in that route, then he's gonna resent me for it, and we definitely don't want that, because then he'll just lash out, and that never ends well. You know, just kind of giving him a little space to believe that what he had, like, the reason he's coming up, that like there's going to be some forethought behind it now, rather than just like, I'm going to dive in with absolutely no plan. I think that was shown when Bomb, you know, told, what's his face, the big dog, Yama, that it's like, okay, I actually have this route of going. We snuck so-and-so on, like he did it against Karaka, he did it, whatever, and just having a little faith that like Bomb isn't going to just get absorbed by,
I think at the end of the day, like that's why they need each other to stay in that middle of the line. Because like, like, you know, for all intents and purposes, like there is a way to take Khun's side, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, you want to go fight Yama? Do you know who the fuck that? Like, you can't just fight Yama. Like, that's not a like. I think it's one thing to be Bam and be like, I will do whatever it takes if that means like saving X or Y person. But it's like, again, to say those things to other regulars, it's like, no, we can't just do that. That's crazy. That's insane. Like that's not like, so, you know, Khun being on one side and Bam being on the other, the plan they came up with, which I'm sure they came up with together, or you know, whoever, like that's usually when like they work best, when it's like a little bit of Bam's, you know, ideas in, let's just say, of like confronting Yama, wanting to save Dang Dang, but you know, Khun's side of like, all right, we're not just running in the front door and slapping Yama in the face and take it, like, you know, we're gonna play this smart, not like, I think that's where it works best.
Yeah, interesting question. Good one. Thank you. So moving on to question 5 here, we have by Piper5. Thank you for the question. Piper asks, what did you think about Bomb's prioritizing his revenge on Calivan rather than saving Khun and leaving that to the Shibisu team? Does that say anything about Bomb's friendship with Khun? Was Bomb right to prioritize growing stronger and Caliban? Yeah, this is a good question here. I don't think, obviously, you know, Bomb still cares about Khun heavily, but, you know, it does say something that he went for this option here. But I do think there's also a flip side to it, in that I think insofar as Bomb growing, he's a little bit more zenned out, he's a little more confident. I think that also has increased his confidence in other people, in the sense that he knows that he can do as much as he can, but that other people are capable, right? So I think that giving this task to them or trusting them with this task is a big moment. And I think I think that it's almost the same as if Bomb just like went full ahead, right? That Bomb knows it's like, okay, you guys are going to be able to do it. Now, there is the argument to say that it's like, okay, well, if you were there, Bomb, like, wouldn't it be that much easier, right? So then you could ensure it, and like, why would you even take the time back? And I think that's where it pulls a little bit about, you know, going both sides here, that Bomb is at his bedrock pretty emotional. We see it when the snake guy starts talking smack about the hostages. He goes from this calm, cool, collected Bomb that we saw in the first chapters here, and he immediately starts yelling, like, what do you mean? Where do you have them? Like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And it's like, okay, so there's still a chink, right, in the armor there. Not that it's bad. He wants to feel emotion for his comrades, and he's human at the end of the day, so it's impossible not to have some sort of emotion, but that is one of his bigger weaknesses, right, is his friends. So yeah, I think it's interesting that he entrusted Shibisu to do that, but that he also made the conscious decision not to go on that route. I don't think going too hard into it either way, white or black, though, is something that we need to do. Because I don't think it's like, oh, Bomb hates Khun. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, he's still his homie. He just trusts Shibisu to do it. But at the same time, I do think that it says something that he went towards the, I need to be stronger to defeat Caliban, because I do think that is one of the things that is most forefront on his mind right now. He's one-track minded in that sense, right? He doesn't want to do anything, right? He was like, oh, I'm not even gonna see my friends off, right? In the flashback, he's like, we gotta get to work. Like, we gotta do this. He's got a goal, and he's gonna do what he has to do to reach it. So,
yeah, Bomb is. I think his time with Ivankel has made him realize that, like, this goal that he wants of being able to be somebody that can stand up to a Caliban, like, he can't be doing things the way that he was, and that means he can't be running around every time something needs to get done, because, like, he needs to train. And then train some more, and then train after that, and then after that. Because it's like, that's what it's going to take to get him up to the level of somebody that can face Caliban. And I actually don't really think that there's a whole lot of, my take on it is much simpler in the sense that I do think it's more he just straight trusted Shibasu's team to handle this. Like, I don't think there's any like, oh, well, then why didn't he go himself? Because, like, let's be real, like, the task, like, especially with him having Evan, the task of getting there, like, was not impossible, and it wasn't incredibly hard. The complication came once they got there, which nobody would have really known about until they got there. But I don't think if Bam even thought for a second that, like, they couldn't do it, that he would have that he would have just left them to do it. But I think, like, Bam's main thing is that, like, I need to train and get stronger so that when Khun does get woken up, like, I'm the kind of person who is strong enough to protect him and, any of my other friends from ever getting in a position like that to begin with.
What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree heavily with that last part where it's like, if I was in Bam's situation, I would trust Shibasu's team. I mean, they left Horiang behind, so there's been a situation where this has happened before with a friend, although not as close as Khun. But it's like at the end of the day, Khun has been hurt because he's associated with Bam, and Jin Sung is seemingly dead because of Bam. And it's like after that has happened, like, I would expect him for the first thing to be on his mind, like, I need to get strong. I need to stop this now, nip it on the bud, and, like, I am just going to work my ass off to really work up to that so, I'm able to protect those around me. And if that means not being with Khun until he wakes up, so be it. I would rather, for when he does wake up, for me to be able to protect him so we can keep on moving forward and, be able to have everybody back together again. So for me, it just kind of seems like a normal route. And, yeah, I'm not hot and bothered by it, and I don't think Khun is either. So, yeah, no, I think it's all right.
Next arc, total centralized.
Yeah,
Bomb hates Khun.
It starts back. Khun's like, "Why did you leave me, Bam? You weren't by my side." And Bam was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry."
We're like, I wouldn't read too far into it. Next,
yeah. Khun's like, "But where was my kissy when I woke up?"
Oh my god. You ever seen Sleeping Beauty? I was like, what are you talking about? Khun's like, you don't even love me.
He's like, it was just the thought that mattered. That's all I'm saying. It's not a big deal.
I'm not a mind reader, okay?
He's like, you know what? Let's drop it. It's just funny.
I just think it's funny, man. Oh, man.
All right. Question number 6 comes from Sad Sparkles. Thank you for the question. They say, Bam has matured in different ways, mentioned in the questions before. What about his idealistic perspective he never lost? Him still trying to be both save his master and give Dang Dang and Louis their freedom, choosing to spread themselves too thin in order to help everybody. Does this just help us see that he is still our Bam, or do you think this might backfire? I think the chances of this mentality backfiring realistically are the same that they've always been, because I think, like, as Bam gets stronger, the enemies are going to get stronger, like, to match him, so to speak. So the chances of it being like, oh, he's too predictable and the enemies can use that to, like, trap him or something is there, but, like, that's never not been there with this mindset he's had, because that's the same, he's had that same mindset throughout the whole story, and that weakness and predictability has been a factor in all those scenarios. So I do think more or less it is to show that, like, amongst the sort of more confident, easygoing, like, zened out and, like, ready to kill Bam that we see, that, like, Bam, the one that we know, is still in there, and he still has not, like, disregarded, how he feels about people, and that, like, everybody should be able to live their own lives and do what they want and all that stuff. That he does still care for freedom and the life of the little guy. Like, I think that's important, because that was the distinction that the God of Guardians made with Jihad, is that he stopped caring about, like, the everyman. He stopped caring about the little guy, and started thinking about him and everybody that was on his level, which wasn't many people. And, like, that's what caused that separation, right? He was like, I'm not like you guys. Like, I'm better. I'm built different. And so I think this is to show that Bam does not think that way. And he's still very much in the camp of, like, no, regardless who I am and what I can do, like, Dang Dang is still a person, and he deserves freedom. He deserves to live his life if he want, you know what I mean? Like, that's the main thing here. It's like, it's one thing if it's like, Yama's like, come be fighting dog. And he's like, fuck it. I'm all about it. But, like, Dang Dang's actively like, nah, I don't want to do that. And obviously Yama's like, I don't really care. So, that's what Bam is fighting for. And I think that, again, is something that Bam has always fought for. And it's nice. I think as much as Bam has grown and changed, it's nice to see that he has grown and not changed. Like that makes sense where it's like he's
does,
grown and gotten older and more mature, but he has not changed. He has not become a different person in the sense that like he no longer carries the same ideology that he once did. This is still first and foremost our Bam.
Yeah, because I don't think it'd be bomb. You know,
Yeah.
once you lose that sense of, well, I have to have my cake and eat it too, but like in terms of people's lives, then we don't have bomb if he's not doing that anymore. If it's like, okay, cutthroat, I understand. You know, if he goes with the Khun plan, the Hua Ryun plan, you get what I'm saying, right? It's he's got to keep that bedrock of what made him at first. Otherwise, he's just gonna go further and further into this jihad route, which is going to be an awkward ending because we're trying to dethrone this guy, not become him, right? So I think that's very important, and it speaks to this balance that he's going to have. Like, he's still him, but he's just way more refined with it. And I love the fact that now, at least in this arc, you know, even though his plan might not be the most genius thing since sliced bread, not that it's bad, but my point is that there's a plan behind it, right? Mm-hmm. Like, there were a lot of times where he's just like, well, I'm just going to do both. And they're like, well, how are you going to do it? And he's like, I don't know. I'm just going to do it, right? And then that would be a gripe of mine sometimes in the story is that he would have no semblance of a plan. And then all of a sudden some like, you know, ridiculously powerful person would come in or some crazy event and circumstance would make things, you know, the universe kind of side in Bomb's favor, and then he'd be able to, you know, have his cake and eat it too. But I think now it's cool that he's going in with the same mindset, but he's like, okay, here's a plan A, B, and C for this, right? And I'm going to say what I got to say, but A, I can back it up because I'm very strong now, and B, I have a fallback, right? In the event that some person goes like this, I have this runaround. I'm not going to fight, you know, I'm going to say that I'm going to fight Yama, but like, don't underestimate me. I'm going to come in with a plan. I'm going to goad him, right? I'm going to be a person that doesn't back down because I've collected the info, probably, I could assume, rightfully so, that this culture of fighting and the strongest, he's not going to respect someone that cowers down to him, right? So I understand that I'm going to speak my mind, okay? And then I'm going to present him with a challenge, right? Because he knows that he could crush me in a second, and I know it too. So I'm not going to go and be like, okay, what's up with it? Fight me right now. I'll fight you if I have to. But, you know, let's go with this game. You know, I'm going to give you with this ballsy proposal. And guess what? He takes the bait, he bites, he goes for it, and now Bomb is able to enact these other parts of his plan. I think that's cool that he's going in with a strategy here, because it just makes more sense. I hope that this plan goes through, you know, to fruition here, and that, you know, it's Bomb that kind of organized this thing, you know, and he's using the cards that he has at his disposal, but nobody's like kind of sweeping down from heaven and just making sure he did it. Like, he's like, I have Karaka, I have this. I know this person might betray me. I know now Karaka probably doesn't even want to help me. We can nix him. Let's get this other person in on the plan. I really like the direction that he's going. It's basically a long-winded way of saying it like that, but what do you got?
You know, I completely agree. And honestly, even if it backfires, I mean, at the end of the day, it's tough shit, and it really matters on how you pick up the pieces from there. I mean, his perspective, we've said it all along, that, you know, it's good at heart, and it could quite literally fail. You're rolling the dice every time. And if you do fail, and it's going to happen because everybody's perspectives and ideas, you know, backfire and fail at some point, it's life. No, nothing's perfect. So you got to expect it to fail, and then when it does, eventually, how do you pick up the pieces and how do you stay true to yourself? And that is the most important part about Bam, where it seems where every time something does backfire or something bad happens that directly goes against, you know, his ideas, he is able to grow and keep on moving forward. And we're coming off the heels of that now. So if he can keep that moving forward, you know, he should be set. And it's going to be hard, but, you know, you really have no options from there. You just got to keep on moving forward. So, yeah, I don't know.
Said.
You guys have anything else or move on to the next?
No, take it away, my friend.
All right, the most important question. I need to take a sip for this one.
That mug is so comically large.
It's actually not big enough, dude. I have to fill it up again.
I got a buddy
oh
of
my
mine
God.
who got one probably like twice the size of that, and it just says, "Yeah, I'm kind of a big deal." It's just, and he just carries it around with this shit-eating grin on his face.
Yeah, I kind of just spilt mine all over me, but it's all good. We're running a little wet today, and it goes with the question. Just Sarah, number 7. How perfect is Bam's haircut now? Okay, I'm getting ready for the pitchforks here. So perfect. Let me get in on it. So, an upgrade, yes. Now, I've got to say, and I'm throwing Khun into this, how I feel with the evolution of Bam's hair. Okay? Short hair's a no-no. Medium hair is all right. However, it suits my boy Khun not only much better, but he also needs his little ponytail back. SIU, I'm talking to you. So, with that said, for me, I am a sucker for that viol hair, and I know you guys aren't, but I like that long, flowy, like Shinsu wavy looking hair. I was always about it. I don't give a fuck if it's have you seen Afro Samurai, my guy? Did his hair ever bother him? No. All I'm saying is you can have
half as long as
bro.
Bam's,
When his hair was flowing in the wind, no, his hair was flowing in the wind, bro. Look at it. Don't even get me started, bro.
He wasn't tripping shit.
To be fair, I think there is a point where in Afro Samurai, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody does grab him by the hair and slam him to the ground.
Yeah, but did that affect the totality of what has happened? No.
Yeah, but he would not have taken that blow had he got a cut.
Bro, all I'm saying is you got to take blows to blow harder. And but no, all right, no, but really going into it, I liked Bam's hair. I don't care about the practicalities. Honestly, that could suck my cock.
Here we go.
But the long hair was the coolest that Bam has been. Prove me wrong. It is the truth. And Khun, like, that's the thing. This haircut looks better because he's looking just like Khun, and Khun is fucking adorable and perfect. So, Bam, I respect it, and it's cool and all, but your viol haircut was so goddamn fire. And as long as you don't go back to that really short shit, I mean, we're cool, we're buddies, we're homies, but I'm just saying, Khun, give me that ponytail, that brony tail, and, you know, Bam, you go back to that viol hair, and I'm leaving it at that. You guys can flame me all you want, and it's going to happen in 2 seconds.
Welcome back to the Battle of Bomb's haircut, V2. If you guys missed the first time we did that, I don't know which discussion it was, but that was a ride.
Like back in season 2, I think.
That was when
the
it first,
it was the end, well, not the end of season 2, but it was the end of the Hell Train arc, or whatever.
Was it?
Because it was he had the viol hair in the workshop, and then the last panel was him cutting his hair really short.
Oh, yeah.
And someone was like, oh, his old hair's back, and then it happened.
Yeah, it went down. No, I'm not gonna. No, what am I kidding? It'll probably turn to fireworks. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's cool. I'm not like, holy hell, this is the coolest thing ever. But actually, I'm not in the viol camp either. I just think it's just a little too long, personally. I think like Khun Edon's is a little shorter than Viol's was, right? Or would you consider those?
I think so.
I need
Really?
a side by side.
I need a side by side.
Wait, was your thing being like, I would have really liked like a Khun Edon sort of
No,
vibe.
I didn't know because I was like, okay, if Khun Edon's, I thought Khun Edon's was shorter, but my point, I was trying to use that for reference, but my point is, I think there's a middle point.
Like a back length, like cut it at the back or like at the shoulder.
I think there's, and well, it's just like all in his face. You know what I mean? I didn't like how it was like just My Chemical Romance, like it was like, you know, just across, like you couldn't even see his eyeballs, and it just like seemed just like he's like constantly like partying. It just seemed like a little ridiculous and impractical to me. You know, it's like there's a way to wear long hair and you look badass. It's like your lion's mane, like you know what I mean, like
Your lion's
dude,
mane.
yeah. There's some warrior cultures that even embrace that, where they would just rock like wild looking long hair to scare the shit out of people, and sometimes it worked. Some ancient Spartans did that, but.
Bam's not Spartan.
Exactly. Yeah, I think there's like a certain aesthetic that goes along with that, and it's like I think Bomb is just like kind of a little too skinny and small, where like the hair almost just looks overwhelming when it's that long on him. My personal opinion. I feel like you got to be able to.
I like
rock
that
it.
reference, like My Chemical Romance. I like looked him up for giggles to see their hair, bro. Like one guy has like long hair, and even then it's like pretty normal. I'm like, there's no basis to this reference, but it was still really funny.
Can I see the pictures?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe
Like one guy has like long curly hair, but like it was just
Okay,
funny.
I was talking like that, like in the middle,
Oh,
but like
okay,
long, you know what I mean,
okay,
where it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
straightened, you know, down thing.
I got you. Yeah, it was just funny. I'm like, does any of these guys have like viol hair in here?
Listen, point is, I think there's a middle ground when it comes to that long, because I think Bomb's at the stage now where it's like long, but it's like kind of weird because it's this little rat tail, you know, it's like, you know, in the back, and it's like, I don't really mess with that. I think it's like, you know, I think a little bit longer, but also I'm not gonna lie, I prefer short hair just in general. That's just, you know, I think like there's a point where I make the cutoff just for practicality purposes. But I do think that this hair is symbolic, and that's what's interesting, because it's like it shows his maturation in the sense that it's like, I wanted this hair, you know what I mean? Like I wanted to do this. I want to grow it out like I do. So I think symbolically this hair is really cool. As far as aesthetically, I don't know. I dig shorter hair, but I guess the shorter hair made Bomb look a little younger. And maybe that was kind of the beef that some people have, is that he looks a little bit more just like Pillsbury Doughboy, like naive looking, just like plain Jane kind of thing. And I could understand that. I think there's like a certain, like you got to like style it or something. So I don't know. Somewhere in between. What do you think?
I think it's fucking perfect. I remember
We have
literally
3 different opinions here.
when we had this conversation the first time, and Gavin was in the long camp, you were in the short camp, and I was like, if it could just get a little longer, not crazy viola length, but like just a little bit longer than the Boy Scout thing he's rocking at the time. Fuck, are we here, bro? This like, that's like, don't you fucking dare, don't. You can get him a wig. We could do the name hunt station thing where
look
he's
him up again.
putting on 400 different wigs to look like every. That's cool.
See,
but this hair, you know what it is? I like it because it's short. It's shorter than like a Viol thing where he's got like a fucking lion tail out his donkey butt or whatever. But
A lion tail out his donkey butt.
But I like that it can also that he can like style it. Like it's literally Khun's length of hair, and I like that he can like do stuff with it if he needs to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's the thing. You innately like it because it's like Khun's hair, but there's a part of me that's like, Khun has that hair. I need Bam to be like a little bit.
No. But that's why I like that. It's not
that
like
length. You can vary it, so it's not it doesn't necessarily have to be the same as Khun's. He could do different things because he has some length.
Yeah,
to
well,
work
that's
with.
what I'm saying. That's why I like Khun's hairstyle. Like I just like that hairstyle because it's like it's long, so that you get like that flowy, and you can like there's length to it. Because I actually don't like hair when it's like really short. Yeah, but it's not super viol, like he's tripping over it and shit. But it's like you can if he wants, he's in a fight with it, like he can like put it in a little like ponytail or whatever. It just fits. It hits.
Yeah, maybe it's the way he's wearing his ponytail, because like I'm looking at this picture and it's like I just feel like, bro, you got so much hair going on, and it's like this little piece.
You know
is,
what?
Like,
You know
put
what it
back
actually
in the
looks
ponytail.
like. That picture looks like he has pigtails, and that was my first thought.
Yeah.
And that's you have two.
It's like, well,
you have two
my issue is
ponytails.
he has so much hair flowing on the sides, but then the little one in the back, and I just like I feel like he needs to like pull it back a little bit more, like where it's like not hanging on the sides.
Well, I think
and then just like this
again,
little rat tail. Like,
if you
want to
really
see it
like,
pulled back.
I think there's a little bit of symbolism in that. Is that like the putting it in a ponytail, but like doing it in that style where it's lower on the head as opposed to like pulling all his hair back is like symbolic in a sense that it's like the ponytail represents the like maturity and like the togetherness, if you want to say, that Bam's character has, but there is still like there's a little bit of like freedom in that hairstyle, right? It's not like super pulled back where like there's not a single hair follicle out of place, but it's like there is still a little mess to
I think
it.
you're looking a little
Or
too
you
hard
could
into
do the
that
best
time,
of both worlds. You could do the best
You're
of
like, it's just symbolic because it has this.
or you do the best of both worlds and do exactly what Khun did, where it was just a ponytail coming off the top and the lower kind of did its own thing.
When you
because
say
that looks the
top,
best.
you're talking about like where it was like this part of the back of the head, right? Like not, you're making it seem like it was like right. smack
I'm
dab in the
literally
middle
saying
of the
right here,
head.
dog.
Oh, okay, that one, yeah, I agree. That one looked good.
Yeah.
And he had a little. No, did he have it or did he pull it back completely?
No, you
right?
so you have it off the top and then you leave it flowy like around the sides, like you don't pull this hair back. You like leave it down. Yeah, I know, because that's what my girlfriend's haircut's rocking right now, and I just gotta say it looks just like Khun's and delicious. Yeah, and I literally told her, I literally go up to her, I'm like, you look just like Khun, and it's amazing. And then she's like, and I literally showed her.
She goes, is that whose name you've been calling during sex this whole time?
No, hold on, because I've actually brought it up. I was like, all right. I was
you look just like this dude I know.
No, it's not far off. But I looked at her and I was like, babe, all right. I was like, if I was to change to the manly side,
about you.
I was like, if I'm going to change to the manly side, okay? I was like, you do have some competitions, and his name is Khun. And then immediately she looked at me because she doesn't like anime. I know I'm going to put her on a pitchfork. She's like, I don't want to know. And I took up a picture and I looked at her and she was like, oh wow. She's like. Because actually when I first met her, she had Khun's hair. It was at a job and you had to have short hair, so she had it pulled back and she had a little ponytail on top, and I thought it was the cutest thing. That's why I see like Khun and I'm like, that is amazing. And now she kind of went back to that and she's rocking it, and I'm like, one, you look like Khun, who you said that you hate, And I'm just all about it, dog.
Yeah, I'm
She said
looking
she
at it
hates
now,
It's
and it looks
amazing.
like
That's
it looks good. I think Khun rocks it a little better than
It's-
Bomb did
it's
because he
better
has
on a
less
side
hair.
shot,
He has
too.
less of it, kind of chilling. He only
Yeah.
has like a little bit, so I
Yeah.
think it makes it look. He has more of it pulled back, essentially. Like he's a little bit more. Bomb's bun or his his actual ponytail was just so slim, and
It
that's what I didn't
was.
like about it. I think if there's a little bit
Yeah.
more, and that's where I was saying like the in between like that and like total
y'all crazy.
viol
There was a
flowing. Not to mention, I don't know.
Hold on. Yeah,
y'all
I got
whack.
it. There's a picture and specifically that I know from
Y'all some
Khun.
whack ass niggas, bro.
I don't know, bro. I like Khun's hair when it was slicked. Personally,
It
My
was
favorite one.
dope,
I
but
think he
not
looks a
better than
little
Khun's
too like, I don't know. Well, I mean, like if that's your thing, he looks really effeminate. But like to me, I don't know. That's like not my.
I don't like yeah, I just don't like short, like very like combed over 90 times, like very controlled, I don't know. That's why I like Bam's hair now, because there's mess to it, but it's like a controlled mess. It's not just like fucking drooping down to the floor.
He's a rebel.
Yeah.
Khun ponytails.
Rebel without a cause.
And where's that bandana, dog? He needs to bring that back.
What?
Wait, has he has a bandana? Yeah,
I think Khun
Has
Oh,
he?
has
the
it.
ribbon?
yeah, or the ribbon
Oh,
bandana.
okay.
Yeah, because it's been a minute since I've seen it, and I need that back. I don't remember if anything was said
Yeah.
about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think that was like,
just kind of disappeared.
yeah, because I think he at the time he had it as like part of his style, but I guess when he changed that, like he just got rid of the ribbon.
I guess, but it was fire.
It was pretty cool. It was very distinct. It like, it made him like, you're like, oh, Khun, like he's got that, it stood out as a character in his character design.
Bomb should get like that like fade cut, but they draw like symbols in his head.
Absolutely
Oh
not.
God, please no! Don't you dare do that. Now we're literally going to like you're playing baseball like at 10 years old. That's what everybody had that haircut. Oh my God.
I never had that haircut.
No.
10 years old?
At 10?
Or not 11 when you're younger playing baseball. All the kids would get like fades and
10,
get their
11. Don't blow
no. All I'm saying is when I was like growing up playing baseball, like starting from T-ball, which is pretty much when you can walk. So 10 is in that age group. Whatever. Fucking
Well,
I don't
you can
know.
walk now. Get
But
him
pretty
out
much
there.
everybody, every kid, and me included, I'm not gonna lie, you would have the fade haircut when I had hair or decent hair, and then they would always have like their number of their jersey like etched into the side of them, or do like stupid stuff like that.
Oh.
And yeah, that was like a very like childish thing. And yeah, I mean,
didn't
Well,
know it's
putting your
Yeah, I don't know.
baseball number in
like
there is one
you can get
thing.
like wings. Are you talking like wings or?
Yeah, something like that. Like the weight.
Yeah,
the
like-
line.
no,
No,
It's
dude.
just
All
as
the
a
kids I
suit
knew,
style,
bro, like
like-
we just buzzed our heads. There was
Yeah,
no
yeah, I
fancy,
did that too. I
sneaky
never
like
did that
fades
either,
or
no.
like writing your initials in your head or nothing.
Dog, it was
No.
funny. I was
I
obsessed.
I
did
learned
not
about that
know
concept at like 20, and I was like, why would a person do that?
I don't know.
Like,
My haircuts look terrible all through my kid life because I just be like,
Yeah,
just
it
shoot
was
it
just-
every
you're
time.
telling me and my
No
brother, we
style.
were obsessed with mohawks, and we had the blondest hair. Like literally, it would be shiny, and we'd always go up to mom and be like, "We want a mohawk, we want a mohawk," and my mom was like, "Why?" And it would just be like, "We want a mohawk," and like literally, it would just be a buzz down, just mohawk down the middle. And every summer, that was like our thing. When it was getting warm out, we were like, "We don't want hair," we were like, "We want mohawks," and I don't know why she let us do that. And I look back, and it is actually the funniest thing in existence. But
In existence?
yeah, it
Bold
was
claim,
it was big brain moves. I gotta say, big balls. Like bam, that's dropping. Big balls, new hair.
Yeah, big ball.
there you go. Bring it back, Gavin.
Mom said I got two things in this world: my balls and my word. That's what he said, and then he beat the shit out of Baragon. The end.
The shit out of hair.
That's what he did. Anyway, we'll have to see and monitor Bomb's hair as we go through more.
We'll
of
get
the
back to
story.
you guys with a day-by-day update
Yeah.
on what's happening. We'll be in contact with SIU.
What if he
Will
gets a
Bomb-
perm? What if they start going off the rails?
He gets a perm and like Khun just busts his head. It's like, what the fuck's going on? Shibisu gets that like afro like high top fade.
Yo, that would actually be pretty fire.
Oh man.
Haas just like, what the fuck's going on? Something in the water?
It's wild, dude. These hair discussions on another level.
Amazing.
Anyway, folks, those are the 7 questions. Those are our answers, our opinions. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you are smashing that like button, turning it blue. If you are new here, subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification bell so you don't miss any future content on the channel, and commenting your thoughts down below. What did you think of our discussion, the questions posed, our answers? What do you think about Bomb's hair? Let us know. I actually think that could be our question, more kind of like opinion, because these are fun. Which style of hair is your favorite for Bombs for the question
And why
of
is
the
it
video?
long hair?
Why is it not the long hair?
And why is it? I don't know.
Why is it bald?
Yeah. And why is it bald? Yeah. Oh, man. Beyond that, make sure you guys are hitting up AOA Reacts. Link is in the description down below. Subscribing to that channel and checking out our live stream of these chapters. Catching us live on Sundays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And hitting us up on that Discord link again in the description down below. So you can pose your questions an hour after the live stream's concluded and have them read out in our discussion videos like you've seen here today. Don't shy away. There's a brilliant and beautiful community waiting there for you. You just got to join. We have our comment of the day as well. Gavin, if you want to read that one off for us.
Oh, and today's comment is by #reader. Han Sung is the narrator. That was the answer to the question. At that time, he is the most suited person to being one, who was just giving his opinion on what's going on. The line are literally point Han Sung because he says things like this many times. Arrogant people, change is as natural as a tidal wave in the ocean.
Yeah, so just to clarify, people are like, what the hell was that right
Yes.
now? Last discussion, we had posed the question, more of a subjective one, again. Who do you think the narrator was at the end of season 2 when they're saying their change happens as frequently as tidal waves in the ocean and you guys are arrogant and the whole nine? Because there was a lot of contention around that. Some people thought it was Miss Cheney. Some people thought it was some complete outsider. We actually answered that question, gave thoughts. I think Hedon might be someone. I think we were talking about that, etc. We really don't know. So that was the question posed. And #reader said it was Ha-Jin Sung for the reasons that were just stated. So thank you for watching the entirety of the video. And thank you for commenting your thoughts there. Really appreciate it. And hopefully you watch this one so you could get your claim to fame there. Like I said, the question before, which hairstyle do you prefer? And lastly, big shout out to our patrons, especially our acolytes of anime, Stoic and Nathan. Love all of our beautiful patrons and their beautiful faces. But that's all we got for today, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And we will catch you all on the flip. Peace.
Peace.
Peace out.
Ninjas are samurais, blazing the kunais. Find me in the leaf of the cloud, screaming out Bankai. We just some ghouls though, who like seeing parts fly. They like what you saying, Goma got more through the storylines. I tested your neck from the start, my hunters gon' come for your heart. I promise you'll land in my boulevard, left them in one piece. No